Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, July 21st, 2020, and this is My Political Truth. My name is Gerry Tomchinsky. I am joined today by a very special guest, comedian and YouTube personality, Freddie Rubino. Freddie, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Trump 2020, baby.
All day, all day. Thank you so much for coming on. And for my audience that doesn't know who you are, isn't too familiar with you, give us a brief description about yourself. Tell us about what you do, what your beliefs are, and we'll take it from there.
Well, I'm a comedian, stand-up comic from Brooklyn, New York, and I have come out with a lot of videos on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm just myself. So, you know, a lot of comedians, 99%, are liberal assholes and, you know, all kinds of stuff. I was raised Christian conservative. That's who I am. That's what my videos are. And either you love me or you hate me, but I've been called the voice of reason. So I'm gotta be doing something right.
I mean, I've been following you for years, and I've seen probably all of your videos. And, you know, to people like us, you are a voice of reason. But to the other side, the psychopaths, we're the ones that are the problem. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, you say you just told us you're from Brooklyn, New York. I'm from Brooklyn also, Coney Island raised. Let's jump right into New York and what the hell is going on over there. Are you still living in New York full time?
No, I'm in Florida full time now.
Me too.
I had to get
the hell out.
Because the politics changed. My whole neighborhood changed with politics. You know, we still had the same police force that was fantastic. You call the cops, minute and a half, cops are at your door. What can we do? How can we help? After a while, they were told, if they were Mexican, don't take them in. So what would happen in the neighborhood was you would have a park down the block. There'd be 5 drunken Mexicans there, peeing in public next to little kids, drinking, passed out. You call the cops, they would just move them along. And after a while, I was telling them, I go, why are you moving them along? You got to be arrested. They're half naked. They're exposing themselves. They're drunk. They said, that's our orders. So once I seen that I can't compete, because, you know, if you did that, you're locked up for the whole weekend.
No questions asked.
So when I seen that, I seen it was a no-win situation. So that's when I said, you know what? Let me get the hell out of there.
It's so sad to see what happened to neighborhoods like Bensonhurst, like Coney Island, like Sheepshead Bay. I lived in Sheepshead Bay, I lived in Coney Island, I lived in Brighton Beach, all of it. And it's a completely different world than when I grew up, even from 5 years ago. It's just been slowly deteriorating. They let de Blasio in, and then they vote him in again. Because 4 years of this idiot wasn't enough. They vote him in again.
Well, you know what? First of all, I think all of these ultra-liberal mayors, to get voted in 2 times, I got to think it's a little rigged. Yeah. Because like you said, in all those neighborhoods, they didn't vote for him.
No.
You talk to all your friends, you talk to everybody in the supermarket, on the street, you can't find anybody who voted for him. So, you know, little pockets voted. It had to be rigged. Coming from Bensonhurst, I know a rig when I see one. Not that I'm against a good rigging. I'm down for a good, but I could see that this guy, and a lot of them did that. A lot of them did. What we need to straighten out, we need, just like the presidency and electoral college, we need that for the states, for governor. So that guy like Cuomo, he gets voted in because of New York, but all of New York State hates him. He just gets the votes from the city. Mm-hmm. But if New York City was just 5 electoral votes and you need 20 to get elected, he never gets elected. It'll always be conservative.
You know, that's super interesting that you just said that. It's I think that would be a great idea for the states, because you have, like you said, certain pockets that are all liberal, and then you go upstate, you go to upstate, you go Staten Island, you go Mill Basin, Bensonhurst, you're not going to find a liberal in sight. In sight.
And especially upstate.
Yeah.
You know, you got those hillbillies up there. They want their guns. They want everything. And they have the right to have it. So you have places like Chicago, Illinois. Chicago does the same thing. They vote in a liberal governor. Mm-hmm. The rest of Illinois, they don't want him.
No.
But all the people, you see, a lot of these states, there's two or three cities in there that are, you know, like a lot of heavy minorities. It's easy to rig. It's easy to pay people to go out and vote 2 or 3 times. So those with those big cities, they always get the liberal governor. California, Chicago, Illinois, New York, a lot of times Jersey. Look at Jersey. Jersey's got like 3 big cities: Newark, Camden, and Trenton. The rest of Jersey is Republican.
Yeah, and they don't care for money at all.
So that's what we need. That's one thing they need to change.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And another thing that bothers me, and, you know, being that both of us living in Florida now, you got the people from New York, the same ones that voted in Cuomo and de Blasio, they come down here and they're bringing the liberal mentality with them. And I'm like, listen, if you're going to bring that BS ideology, stay up north. I came here for a change. I could have a gun here. I have more liberties here, more American liberties, not what they're taking away piece by piece up north.
I don't. Florida loves their guns.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
I've seen all the unrest. I said, you know what? Let me go down and buy a gun. I go to the gun store. There's a line around the block. Yeah. I finally get in there, hour and a half. The shelves are half empty. The guy's like, what's that? The guy goes, oh, that's a double barrel slugs. Give me one of those. They're just buying anything. It's fantastic. I bought it. Yeah, give me one.
Yeah, why not? My old man was in town a couple of weeks ago. We woke up on a Sunday morning. Usually we wake up, have breakfast, you know, whatever, watch the news. We said, you know what? Let's go gun shopping. We go to the gun shop. We both bought a couple of guns. I mean, that's the world we live in today. And now, speaking of guns, you got that situation up in Missouri with the McCloskeys, the ones that defended their home with legally bought guns. And the Missouri DA is bringing them up on felony charges of unlawful use of a weapon. If you can't protect your house from these savages, what can you protect your house from with legally owned guns?
I got to hand it to them. If they would have just went in their house, sat in the living room on stacks of ammo, and when they came through, just mowed them down, it would have been a whole different scene. They would have killed like 20 people.
Oh, easily.
So for them to go out and say, hey, look what I got, assholes. Don't come on in. And then they didn't. They backed right down. I have to hand it to them. They dodged a really tragic event. And I think, you know, I thought they were very smart in doing it. And also, the laws there backed them 100%. People were on their property yelling, we're going to murder you. They had every right to be on their own property with the gun. But that's
what's confusing me. That's what's confusing me. How can the DA, the prosecutor, come on television, on the media, and try to justify the charges? That's what I don't understand. And people are buying it. The Communist News Network and MSLSD, they're all buying this garbage and they're reporting it like it's good news.
But what I like to see now is that guy's a lawyer.
Yeah.
So he knows. He knew exactly what to say. I don't know what was said, but as soon as I seen him the next day, he says, they were yelling, we're going to murder you. I was like, man, this guy got a good line of shit. Somebody already told him what to say, you know? So I love that. But here's the thing. If they make something stick, he can lose his law license.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to see this guy get exonerated and then sue the state for everything they got. This way, these people, when they see it, they go, we can't do it. We can't afford to do it. The last guy got $20 million from us because we're assholes and we tried to do something illegal. So I hope he goes all the way with it, sues the shit out of him, does everything. But in a little bit, I wish he would have went inside and popped a few. That's just the way I am.
Listen, I agree with you 100%. And if they would have came out blasting, they wouldn't have been wrong for that either. They came through their gate illegally onto their property. Hey, in this country, I think you always have a right to defend your home, your property, your family, whatever it is. And they're getting brought up on charges. I mean, we're living in an upside down world. Forget Stranger Things on Netflix. This is the true upside down world.
But you know what? You got a mansion like that. See, if that was my mansion, I'd have at least 20 Rottweilers. I'd have a guy taking care of them. You know, not my pets. But somebody comes in, release the Rottweilers, boom!
They're taken care of. All problems.
What a video. Could you imagine a video of 20 Rottweilers tearing into those people? Oh my God.
Talk about going viral.
Oh. I think the cops should do the same thing. The cops should have a lot of in the old day, back in Rome, they used to have Rottweilers for the army.
Yep.
But they bred them different. They weren't like the Rottweilers today. They were twice the size. They were like 300 pounds, the Rottweilers.
And very aggressive.
And with armor on. Yeah. So, you know, you're police. They're pelting you with bricks. And release 100 Rottweilers.
Problem solved.
I guarantee you, when you get the call the next day, you want to go to the riot, break some windows? Get the fuck out of here. They got 30 Rottweilers.
You go there. I'm not going there.
I ain't going there.
You know.
Pro Rottweiler.
Yeah, straight up. And, you know, you and I, we could sit here and we could laugh about this stuff. And to think about it, some of it is funny, but we're living in this world, you know? And when organizations like Black Lives Matter and Antifa, who's being fully funded by that scumbag George Soros, it's the worst kept secret in the world. And we got the dope from Park Slope, the Big Bird mayor of New York, assigning 25 cops to protect that ridiculous mural. But you got 1-year-olds getting shot every weekend. I mean, where is the common sense? Where are the people speaking out on this? Nobody's listening to them if they are.
You know what? These neighborhoods are being preyed upon by politicians and stuff. All of these neighborhoods in Chicago, in Brooklyn, you know, in New York, all of these neighborhoods where crime's up 600% and kids are getting shot. Every time a kid gets shot, their parents should be at the mayor's place on the news wanting answers. Every day this should happen. They're not even on the news.
No. The only place that gives them any kind of airtime is Fox and One America. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. You know, and you know what? Like you said, it's now become a very dangerous world because even if you're 100% in the right and you protect yourself, you're still in a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better to be alive than dead. Don't get me wrong. You know, if you're in the car and there's 20 of them trying to get you out and you have to shoot your way out of it, at least you're alive. But I guarantee you're in a world of shit for the rest of your life.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I say it, you know, I do my broadcasts every night. And I think for the last week, I've been saying, watching all this violence, I said, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6 any day of the week. Because at least if I'm being judged, I have a way of getting out of it, you know? But if I let them do what they want to do, and you know what, Freddie, these people, they won't come at able-bodied people like you or I, or if we're walking with like a group of people, they won't come at us. They'll come at the vulnerable, at the people that, you know, are barely surviving in the projects, or the little old lady walking in the street. They'll go after that. They're a bunch of cowards. They are a bunch of cowards that don't even know what they believe in. They have no idea what their organization's about.
That's true. They really don't know what they're doing. They don't know. Like, it's just like the thing with the Washington Redskins. Oh, everybody's got an issue. We have to change it. Meanwhile, they asked the leaders of every major Indian tribe, do you think it's offensive? They not only said it's not offensive, all of them said, we're proud to be called Redskin. I want to be called a Redskin. I want to be separate from you. These people, and the Redskin logo, I believe, is like a very big, like a Mohawk or somebody chief. It was honoring them.
Yeah.
And they were proud of it. They loved it. And so other people are getting on this bandwagon. They have no idea what they're doing.
It's disgusting. I mean, I swear to God, I think they look for new stuff to be offended by.
Now, the Redskins suck anyway.
Texas Rangers. What about them? What's wrong with the Texas Rangers? Because they're a law enforcement unit? I mean, that's all.
The Redskins suck. I could see being offended as an Indian because the Redskins suck. You know, maybe that's more like it, you know. But otherwise,
representing us, we're a strong people. No, 100%. What do you think it's going to take for President Trump to actually win, short of the Democrats rigging this thing, which they're trying to do with the mail-in ballots? What do you think he needs to do from now till Election Day to put him over the goal line, so to speak?
I think, first of all, he hasn't been even campaigning yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he should be, because he's got a lot of big problems with this coronavirus. So, you know, he's doing the best he can. He's doing, but if we just get the same amount of votes that we did last time, he wins.
Mm-hmm.
And in my estimation, you know, when he ran against Hillary and they said it's a 95% chance that Hillary wins. And, you know, I'm all up and down the East Coast doing comedy, you know, and I'm driving through communities. I fly in, I rent a car. Sometimes I got to drive 3 hours to the gig. And you're driving through America, not one Hillary sign did I see. Yeah. All I saw was Trump. And I was telling people, I go, I don't know, you know, I think Trump's got a chance. I said, all I see is this energy. I haven't seen one Biden sign.
No.
Anywhere.
No, nowhere.
So all he's got to do is get the same amount of votes. To me, anybody who voted for Trump last time, there is no way now they're going to say, you know what?
It was a mistake.
Yeah, there's no Trump voter that's going over to the other side. If anything, they look at Biden and they go, Madonna mia, this guy can't remember his own goddamn name. And they vote for Trump. So well, he's gonna win big again.
I mean, if he doesn't, we're in a world of trouble. We're in a world of trouble. And like I said, the only thing that concerns me is them rigging this election. And they're trying to push for these mail-in ballots. They're trying to blow up this coronavirus 10 times worse than it is. You live in Florida. You heard what's going on over here. I got people telling me personally, friends of mine that work for a healthcare place, they come up positive for COVID-19. They got to take another test before they're allowed to go back. They come up positive again. So then they take one more final test, 3 positives and 1 negative. All those positives go on the positive column. They don't differentiate saying, oh, well, that was 3 tests for one person. They're saying positive, positive, positive. These numbers are all askew. They're not right. These numbers are not.
Well, I know people who work in Kissimmee in the hospital.
Yeah.
They're laying off. It's empty. Okay? I know people who went in Fort Lauderdale. They went to go get tested. So you pull up on the line, you sign up, you get on the line and you look and the line's 4 hours. So they left. 3 days later, they get the results. You tested positive for corona. And they go, I didn't even take the test.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And
so,
that's what I think they're using as their weapon to try to push this ridiculous mail-in ballots. And they come on TV with a straight face expecting their supporters will believe them because they're okay. They're imbeciles anyway. It doesn't make a difference. People like us, the ones that question them, we're the bad guys because we don't trust the government. I don't know.
You know what? When you look at it rationally and you say, okay, if you don't wash your hands, if you don't wear a mask, and if you're close together, you're going to get COVID and it's going to run rampant. Yet, homeless shelters are packed. Yep. Nobody's dying. Nobody's dying sleeping in the subway stations, 50, 60, 80 people. Nobody's dying. They don't wash their hands. Nobody's dying in all the tent cities in California. They're getting bigger. They're not getting smaller. So something's wrong. And they always say, well, you got to go by the science. You got to go by the science. What science? That 1% of the people die? Open up twice.
But this science they're not paying attention to. 12 straight weeks now, our death numbers are declining. Nobody talks about that. Again, the only channels that talk about it, Fox, One America, Newsmax. That's it. They talk about 15,000 new cases in Florida. Well, tell me how many people died in Florida.
Right. It's always going down. It's always going down. And listen, you go to Florida to die anyway, okay? So that's a big thing.
What did they call it? Cuomo called it God's waiting room.
Yeah.
Jesus, that guy, I don't know. Him and his brother Fredo, I don't know how they're touting this guy. They got him in Georgia right now because Dr. Fauci came on and said New York handled it right. 32,000 dead, 6,000 elderly that he personally sent back to the nursing homes. New York did it right. Explain to me what was right about that. Unbelievable.
This guy Fauci had too much power.
Yeah.
You know, I would have never put him on. This is the only thing Trump did wrong. He put him on TV and made him the authority. Meanwhile, he was wrong every time. If you make a montage of all his bullshit, you will see, don't wear a mask, go on cruises, go out to eat. Oh, you can wear a mask. Mask does more harm. No, now we need it. He's very cautious, but he's been wrong 5 times. A guy wrong 5 times shouldn't be running the whole country.
No, absolutely. He's wrong more than most weathermen. It's unbelievable. And he's the authority, and he's the one that I don't believe anything he says. I think he's another puppet, just like Joe Biden is. And right now is when they're going to apply the pressure on him. They're going to tell him, scare people more than you did before. Tell him it's the worst. Tell him everybody's going to die because they don't want anybody coming out to vote. It's unreal.
I think the second time he was wrong, they should have said, all right, we're getting rid of Fauci. This is the second time he was wrong, and there's millions of people out of work. Good try. Get him out of here. And that's what they should have done.
And then if they would have done that, they would have said that it's all because of Trump, and Trump doesn't like him, and it's the relationships, and Trump fires this one and that. Listen, they'll blame Trump for anything. You know it. I know it. They're going to blame him for the violence in the cities. And when it's all said and done, they're going to say, well, this was Trump's America. Guaranteed. That's what they're going to try to say.
Yeah, they're going to try and pin him on him. But you know what? The numbers speak for themselves. He had the greatest economy before this hit. Mm-hmm. He's going to bring it back to the greatest economy. He's going to do more for minorities than anybody in the history of the country ever did. And that's the scary part. I always said it, even since I was a young man, I said to myself, the thing that they fear most in this country is someone that unites it, that unites the minorities with the non-minorities, and everybody comes together, and all these people who are poor being lifted up. They are afraid of that more than anything, and that's what he started to do. He started to bring people in poverty up to middle class, and they freaked the hell out. Yep. And then, now that I believe this virus, Europe is open. They're worse than we were. They're all open. They're shutting down the country for a reason. They want to just defame what the president has done. And I think that's a sad thing.
Yeah, I keep telling people that the virus is going to go away on November 4th. Black Lives Matter is going to go back into their little hole on November 4th, everything's going to go back to normal. They're going to go, if President Trump wins, they're going to go back to trying to impeach him for the next 4 years until the next election, which obviously he can't run again. But it's going to all go back to normal. Everything here is going in cycles, and it's been freaking predictable. As soon as the impeachment failed, coronavirus jumps in.
If you remember, the big narrative before this was white supremacists. When did the last time you see a white supremacist kill somebody? I mean, it happens every like 10 years. One guy, a hillbilly, takes his gun out and shoots somebody. So that was the whole narrative, white supremacy. The mere fact that Black Lives Matter has killed a lot of people in the last 2 months, and there's been no backlash. There's no big white supremacist groups that are meeting them and shooting, and that means there are no big white supremacist groups.
Of course not.
There's little groups of 5 and 10, just stupid shit. So I thought when they were saying white supremacy on the rise, I said, man, if this Black Lives Matter thing goes nationwide and they're killing people in the street, there's going to be a real clash. But there isn't, because they don't exist.
No, absolutely. And I mean, look at what's happened since Black Lives Matter. It's such a fugazi organization. I hate even talking about them, but they need to be talked about so people can see that they're all full of it. It was started by 3 women that were admitted Marxists, admitted communists, and admitted organizers. And people actually think it's about Black lives. It got nothing to do with Black lives. It got nothing to do with George Floyd. It got nothing to do with Ahmaud Arbery. Just like 4 years ago, it had nothing to do with Michael Brown and that situation. Nothing happened in 4 years since the last election. I don't recall any racial tension in the 4 years that because they were too busy with the impeachment.
Well, you know how you know it's communist based? If you look at all the times there's unrest, it's white kids. It's white kids doing it, which means they're taking a movement and they're making it their own. They're making it for communism, for Marxism. They're making it for that. And that's what they're doing. They hijack the Black Lives Matter, a movement. And all you do is see them at these functions, and they covered themselves up. These people are communists and they want to overthrow the government. And that's why when Trump made it like a terrorist organization, that was the best thing he could have done. Get these people off the street. They're our downfall.
Yeah, and the minute they had that guy, Hawk Newsom, on Fox, whose real name is Walter. I changed my name too if it was Walter to Hawk. But the guy, 43 years old, lives with his mom in the South Bronx, comes on Fox News and basically makes a threat on TV. He should have been dragged out from that studio in handcuffs right there for making a treasonous threat on national TV. That's insurrection right there. But nobody talks about it. How is that acceptable?
It's not acceptable. And what they're trying to do is, everything's a money grab. When you have a movement like this and you start to get power, look what Al Sharpton did. Al Sharpton started to be a fearmonger, and he got a lot of people in the inner city behind him. And what did they do? They threw money at him. Here's for programs. Those programs, that money didn't get to the programs. No. All of a sudden, he became rich. So this is their money grab. This is them saying, let's do anarchist stuff. Let's burn down cities. Let's do that. And then they'll sit down with them and they'll say, okay, what do you want? Well, we want programs. And that, that's 50 million, 100 million. They pocket most of it. They show a few people who are part of the program. It's all a money grab. That's all it is. It's a shakedown. It's the oldest trick in the book.
Yeah. And Sharpton, first of all, he's so concerned about racial equality, he won't even come down to stand by somebody if there's not money involved and his people confirm it beforehand. That's number one. Number two, between his, the Rainbow Coalition and the Clinton Foundation, with all the money that they both took in combined, somebody did an investigation. I forget where it was. I think it might've been the ID channel or History or something like that. Combined, 3.5% of their overall revenue goes to actual charities.
There you go.
Where the hell did the rest of the money go?
It's a money grab. It's a big bullshit money grab. That's what it's all about. It's how you could shake down a city. And that's what they do. And I can tell you another thing. These leaders, the religious leaders in these cities are a disgrace. If you want to end the violence in Chicago, there's churches all over that area. If every leader of the church told their congregation, every night we're coming out and we're going to stand around where the violence is and we want cops to protect us, they would draw police force where these are gangs. There's drug gangs. There's all that violence is gang violence. If these religious leaders came out and made an effort to stop it, it would stop.
Yeah, there was.
Some people might get hurt, but after a while, the nation will be outraged and they'll say, hey, if that guy, if that pastor is in front of that drug place, we have to protect him. And they would have, none of them do anything. You know why? Because all these little churches have the same money grab. They're getting little bits of money to have their little programs, and as long as it's violent, they get money.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we had in Chicago, we got a couple of minutes left, but I'm going to finish on this. In Chicago, there was a pastor that came out and he's begging for help. He said, it's not the white cops killing our kids. It's people that look like me and you, pointing at another black person that was standing there. We're killing ourselves. It's not the white cops. He's like, we need more white cops in the area to protect us. This was a black pastor saying it. And he got 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes of time on some obscure channel locally.
Well, let me just tell you something. I worked construction in New York City for 37 years. I worked in every bad neighborhood in New York City. The worst of the worst. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you right now, those bad neighborhoods, really bad neighborhoods, there's only like 5% of the people there that are really bad. The rest are families that are trying to go to school, go to work, and they are the brunt of this violence. They are the ones that are paying for it every single day. All you got to do is and it happened in Harlem. At one point in Harlem under Giuliani, they cleaned up Harlem. They stopped all the drugs and the prostitution on the corners. And there was a Harlem Renaissance. The property went up, businesses, because it's only a little bit of the bad. Same thing with the housing projects. There's 4 groups of people dealing drugs and gang stuff, and the rest are just families trying to get by. It's very easy to stop it, but there's too much money not stopping it.
100%. Money is always the bottom line.
That's right.
It's not about red, white, and blue. It's about green to these scumbags. And
it's all about money.
The see it, the better.
Am I getting paid for this?
That $800 check is in the mail, Freddie. I got you. So I want to finish off. I got a new segment I'm starting on this show. It's going to be called Prick of the Week. Pick something. It doesn't have to be a person, place, thing, anything that bothers you. You give yours, I'll give mine.
I think my prick of the week is de Blasio demonizing cops after getting hit with bricks and getting taunted and getting hit over the head and just being on the side of the people who are attacking our police force. And what we saw in Seattle, without the police force, there's murder and mayhem. So he is definitely the prick of the month, maybe the year.
Of the decade, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, so my prick of the week is going to be Fredo Cuomo. Chris Cuomo comes on his show the other day. Forget about him cursing on air. He said bullshit on air. Forget about that. He comes on yesterday and he says, you show me where in the Constitution it says that protests can't get violent. Well, Fredo, it's in the First Amendment that it says everybody can assemble as long as it's done peacefully. And this guy is
an honorary mention to Don Lemon too, because he's a prick, but he likes being pricked. So
he loves it. They love it. Freddie, thank you so much for coming on with me, buddy. I
Thank
really
you, Al.
appreciate it. Let's go Trump 2020, and let's get out there and vote on November 3rd. Again, thanks a lot.
Thanks for being a conservative voice out there. The more, the merrier.
And I will never stop. I promise you that. Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
And this has been My Political Truth. Join me next time with a new guest. Thank you.